In an effort to stem the spread of COVID-19, the Canadian government has hereby decided that any community service members are forbidden from regular activities and must perform their community service hours indoors under quarantine. This is community service in quarantine with Kevin. Who gives a shit? Today we're going to read Watchmen by Alan Moore. It's a comic book. There's going to be spoilers. I'm not your mother. If you haven't read it, maybe turn the video off. Chapter 1. There's 7 panels on this page. The top part is split into 6 even panels, and then there's 1 wide panel at the bottom. In the first panel, it says, Rorschach's Journal, October 12th, 1985. Dog carcass in alley this morning. Tire tread on burst stomach. This city is afraid of me. I've seen its true face. That's what it says. The picture looks like a little smiley face, yellow happy face button with blood on it. It's on a street curb near what looks like a gutter. It's a close-up picture. The button's about that big. The next panel says, the streets are extended gutters and the gutters are full of blood, and when the drains finally scab over, all the vermin will drown. Jesus. That's the same shot in this panel. It's zoomed out a little bit further so you can see more of it. It's definitely a drain that the little smiley face button is next to, and zoomed out a lot further. Like the smiley face button is like this big now. The accumulated filth of all their sex and murder will foam up about their waists, and all the whores and politicians will look up and shout, "Save us," and I will look down and whisper, "No." And then it's again, it's zoomed out from the same fucking panel. It's just a bigger shot so you can see everything wider. The little smiley face button is very visible, barely visible. But there's this red-headed guy in a trench coat, and he's holding a sign that says "The end is nigh." There's another guy who looks like a street salesman, like he's selling something, or a cook or something. I don't know. He's wearing an apron and he has a hose and he's washing blood down the drain. Okay, panel 6. This is a long book. This is about the time in my segment where if I had any sponsors, I would probably name them. I could go for a Pepsi right now, but I won't drink one because they're not sponsoring me. This is the 4th panel. Everything is zoomed way out now. The guy, the redheaded guy with the sign, he left some footsteps from the puddle of blood that he walked through. And it reads, they had a choice, all of them. They could have followed in the footsteps of good men like my father or President Truman. Decent men who believed in a hard day's work for a day's pay. Okay. And then the next panel, it's zoomed out even further. It's pretty repetitive at this point. I don't see what all the fuss is about with this book, if I'm being honest. I'm 5 panels in already. Instead, they followed the droppings of lechers and communists and didn't realize that the trail led over a precipice until it was too late. Don't tell me they didn't have a choice. And then on the next panel, panel 6, zoomed way out. It looks like we've kind of scaled up the side of a building. Maybe that's why it's zooming out like that. And there's a guy, looks like his hand is holding on to the window ledge of where a window's been broken. The art is fantastic. It's really good. You guys would love it. Now the whole world stands on the brink, staring down into bloody hell. All those liberals and intellectuals and smooth talkers, And all of a sudden, nobody can think of anything to say. And yeah, this bottom panel, this wide panel, it shows that we're zoomed way out, and the whole perspective was from this guy who has a bald spot, wearing a brown trench coat. He's kind of looking over the edge, all the way down at that pool of blood from the beginning. And he says, that's quite a drop. So based on the fact that this guy's looking out a broken window on what appears to be maybe the 15th floor, down at a pool of blood, and he says that's quite a drop. Somebody probably fell through that window, if I had to guess. This is okay. Well, that's the first page. I'm available for sponsorship opportunities. Sometimes reading comic books, sometimes doing other things as part of my community service for bank fraud, whatever the fuck that is. Anyway, I'd like to thank the Canadian court system for allowing me this opportunity. I have to say that. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Is that it?